our second annual World Suicide Prevention Day event. Thank you all so very much for being brave enough to be here today to help. We're here to change the narrative and raise awareness about suicide, help prevent more suicide losses, and provide support and healing for those who have been deeply impacted by suicide. My name is Linda Bailey, and our son, Mason Robert Bailey, died by suicide on November 13th, 2019, at the very young age of 21. Our lives and the lives of our family and friends have been devastated by the loss of our son. I had to make a choice after losing Mason. Curl up and wither away in grief and sadness, or live my life in a way that honors Mason's memory. I chose to keep on living and to find ways to spread suicide awareness and somehow help prevent other families from such a devastating loss. Suicide is now a reality of my life. I didn't choose it. Mason didn't choose to struggle with mental health. But after losing him, I have chosen to make a difference. I have chosen to advocate for suicide awareness and prevention. I am here today with all of you so that we can start the conversation together and talk about suicide, provide opportunities for awareness, and most importantly, help prevent more suicide losses in our community. Suicide is not an easy or comfortable topic to talk about, but unfortunately, we need to talk about it. Don't hesitate to reach out to someone who you think may be struggling. Be open, understanding, supportive, and honest. And most importantly, listen. You don't need to know all the answers, but a friendly, sincere, compassionate ear could make all the difference to someone in need. I'm also very optimistic and excited to share with you the new 988 Suicide Crisis Helpline. Spread the word, share the stickers and cards that we have provided today, and let's all work together to help save lives. In conclusion, I would like to share a quote by Albert Einstein, a very brilliant man, that I find inspiring. Learn from yesterday, live for today, hope for tomorrow. I can't thank you all enough for being here today and showing your support. I would also like to thank Rebecca Sanford and Shauna Salwatch for all your hard work and collaboration in planning this event. I now welcome Rebecca Sanford to share a few words. Sorry. Okay.
Good morning. I'm Rebecca Sanford. I work as a faculty in the School of Social Work at TRU. I'm also a counselor in the community. My life has been personally impacted by suicide in multiple ways. First, in 2007, when my best friend and boyfriend, Sean, died by suicide. It is my honor to welcome you all to the World Suicide Prevention Day event today. I do want to take a moment to start with gratitude for this day, this beautiful weather, and the opportunity to gather within Secwepemcúlecw, the ancestral territory of the Secwepemc people. Specifically, we're gathered today within Kamloops to Secwepemc. It is an absolutely gorgeous day. I invite you to take a moment, notice the ground underneath your feet, and just take a breath on purpose. Inhale and exhale, connecting to this present moment. World Suicide Prevention Day was started over 20 years ago in 2003 by the International Association for Suicide Prevention and the World Health Organization. The intention of the day is to raise awareness about suicide and reduce stigma through connection, education, and advocacy. This year's theme is changing the narrative. A quick overview of what we have planned for today. We're starting with welcomes and information, followed by some words of hope from our elder, Denise McQuaig, our esteemed speaker. After Denise's words, those who would like to are invited to walk around the island path. The walk symbolizes the journey that we're on. We're here today because our lives have been touched in some way by suicide. Some folks have survived a suicide attempt. Some folks love someone who lives with suicidal thoughts or has attempted suicide. Some folks here have lost a loved one to suicide. The journey that we embark on after our lives have been touched by suicide may feel dark and difficult at times, but there are messages of hope and signs of light if we look for them. The journey can be eased when we are surrounded by a supportive community. Part of the intention of the event today is to bring people together to remind you that you are not alone on this journey. It also reminds us that we can change the narrative by coming together as a community and starting conversations about suicide. As we look around today, we are reminded of just how many people in the community are impacted. After the walk, we invite you to come back for food and connection. We'll have pizza from Pizza Now. A huge thank you to Rocky Hunter for the generous donation. We'll also have snacks and water. While you snack on pizza and some of the goodies, we invite you to visit the resource and activity tables. We have printed resources related to suicide prevention and suicide bereavement. We also have a community resource table with information about programs and supports in the community, and a huge thank you to the Canadian Mental Health Association Kamloops branch for being here today to offer their support. We have memory and honoring trees. If you'd like to honor someone who lives with thoughts of suicide, or if you want to remember someone who has died, you can add their name to a leaf and place it on the tree. And finally, we have candles for you to take home. Around the world, people light a candle at 8 p.m. on World Suicide Prevention Day, which is Tuesday, September 10th, to share light in the darkness and support suicide prevention and awareness. We invite you to take a candle home to light on Tuesday. We also have the St. John's Ambulance Therapy dogs here milling about. They're in the shade over to my left. So if you need a little snuggle, a little support, they're here for you as well. While our intention is to bring folks together for messages of hope and healing, we also recognize that today may be a difficult day for you. Your tears are welcome here, and we have small packs of tissues around if you happen to need them. We also have folks who are here and available to offer support if you need. They're wearing the yellow lanyards. I had to practice saying that. Yellow lanyards to let you know that they are volunteers available for support. They're here to talk to you, to just be with you if you need someone to be with you, and to help connect you with resources if you're interested. When we return from the walk, Melissa will be offering a smudge for anyone who would like to participate before leaving for the day. She'll be by the memory tree table next to the food table when we return from the walk. This event would not be possible without all of our sponsors, volunteers, and supporters. We are so deeply grateful for the generosity of sponsors and supporters, including businesses, organizations, families, and individuals in our community. Everything you see here today was made possible by the donations of these folks. The gifts that we received this year far exceeded what we thought was possible, what we had even intended to try to gather. So thank you for contributing to allow us to expand our event and the reach. Thank you to all of the many volunteers who dedicated time and resources today and in the planning leading up to the event. It's truly a community effort, and we are so overwhelmed with gratitude. In particular, I want to thank Linda Bailey and Shauna Salwach for their tireless work organizing the event. And special thanks to Linda for getting things started 3 years ago in honor of Mason. It's amazing to see how the event has grown, and we look forward to continuing to grow it in the future. It speaks to just how important coming together as a community really is. And now, it's my honor and my delight to introduce Elder Denise McQuaig. As the Executive Director, Healthcare Transformation and Capacity Building, Denise works to enable healthcare leaders and teams across Canada to enhance their ability to make improvements and to sustain them. Denise leads a team providing a focus for subject matter expertise and knowledge translation in key areas of Healthcare Excellence Canada's mandate, such as patient safety, equity, and engagement. Denise also lends her leadership to the team-based executive training program Extra and focus on leadership and governance. Prior to joining Healthcare Excellence Canada, Denise worked at Interior Health as Director of Aboriginal Health and Mental Health and Addictions, Thompson Caribou. Her lived experience as a Métis woman, patient, and caregiver supports her passion for healthcare transformation. Denise is chair of the First Peoples Wellness Circle and supports her Métis Nation as member of the Elders Council for Li Michif Otipemisoak Child and Family Services and a variety of elder supports with Métis Nation BC. Please join me in welcoming Denise.
I'm going to put this down. Limatan, Denise McQuaig, Dishinukashan. So good morning, I'm Denise McQuaig, and I introduced myself this morning in the most recognized language of the Métis Nation, Michif. And I want to just begin by giving my thanks and gratitude for the privilege of being able to stand here on these lands of the Kamloops, the Secwepemc, in the heart of Secwepemc Ulu. I want to acknowledge the Secwepemc people for the sacrifices that they have made that give me the privilege to live, work, and play here in Kamloops, and commit to using that privilege to contribute to the beauty and preservation of this community and its beautiful territory for generations to come. I'm really honored to have been asked by the Kamloops Suicide Loss Support Group to be here with you today. I'm going to be talking very much about my personal experiences, my lived and living experience related to our topic of suicide today. I'm going to attempt to change the narrative. And so if you are feeling overwhelmed as I share my stories, please reach out to the folks next to you, to this community of love and support, to those with the lanyards, and be good and kind to yourself. I am someone who lives with what I can now, at my age, call chronic and persistent mental illness. In my early 20s, I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder only after an attempted suicide that found me admitted to a psychiatric unit for a number of months and weeks. At that time in my life, I was the young mother of 3 children under the age of 4, living in rural British Columbia, and it was overwhelming, to say the least. I remember how strongly I tried to fight the idea of even going to the hospital or telling anyone what I was thinking about in my deepest and darkest hours. I was so afraid of what people would think. I was so afraid of being judged. I already was living in a world of self-talk that I wasn't enough. I'd like to say that the solutions provided, the medications offered, the outpatient support groups, and other programming were the very thing that I needed to bring those thoughts to a stop. But unfortunately, that was not the case. It has been and is a journey. It led me to the work that I have made my life's work over the past 30 years, to be focused on my own community, First Nations and Métis, and the epidemic that this is in our communities. It led me to work for Interior Health, and amazingly enough, from 2005 to 2007, covering someone else's maternity leave, I became the Director of Mental Health and Addiction Services for Interior Health. So what does that actually mean? Well, it means that the psychiatric unit at Royal Inland and Caribou Memorial Hospital reported to me. It means that I oversaw 148 outpatient staff from all of our rural communities in the Thompson, Caribou, and Kamloops. It means that I oversaw almost $12 million in community contracts for services to individuals like myself who struggled. It also meant that I came to understand the reality of that healthcare system. Even with all of that outpatient staff, we can only see approximately 4,500 people for clinical counseling ongoing. It means that we often only take through the doors those who are struggling the hardest. And it means individuals like myself feeling like there's nowhere else to turn or to go. In 2002, I lost an uncle to suicide. He was my mom's oldest brother, a grandfather, the father to 3 of my cousins, and he was, at 69, no longer with us. I remember when I got the call that told me that he had taken his life. And even with my own lived experience and all of the professional experience I was in, my first thought was that it couldn't be possible because he was a senior citizen. Losing my uncle was the stark reality of understanding that suicide knows no age, it knows no color or ethnicity, it knows no belief system, it knows no economic status. It impacts everyone. Navigating that grief was also the first experience I had of how difficult it is to talk about. Even though I counsel people, even though I took applied suicide intervention skills training, even though I knew Safe Talk, even though I took mental health first aid, in my own family, I couldn't find the words that would help to comfort my cousins. And I remembered so strongly and was triggered so strongly by the journey I had been on with my own family. I can tell you that when I was hospitalized for surgery, my mom was on the phone telling my aunts about my situation. When I was hospitalized in the psychiatric unit, she told no one. When I couldn't find the words that I wanted to use to comfort my cousins during their time of loss, it was also grounded in fear and stigma. Whether you are someone who has been thinking about suicide, whether you are someone who has attempted suicide, or whether you are someone who has lost a loved one to suicide, stigma is a root issue to the cause, to the ability to prevent, and to healing. Now, as I approach 60, mother of 4 adult children and grandmother to 7, I've come to appreciate that the greatest healing I have experienced is in moments like right now, when I am saying the word suicide publicly and openly and being honest about how it has impacted my life and continues to impact my community. I have come to appreciate that that kind of healing allows me to be the best version of myself living in recovery. I want to be honest with you that healing is not about the hurt stopping. Healing for me has been about facing the fear of the hurt and walking through it. And so I want to thank all of you for being here today. You are healing. You are support for me. Each of you gives me hope for what can be different for my children, my grandchildren, and the generations to come. Your willingness to stand in a public way and acknowledge this very difficult topic brings a sense of hope, belonging, meaning, and purpose that is life promotion. And somehow, within the English language, thank you just doesn't seem to be enough. And so I go to my traditional language spoken by my grandmother, which was Cree, and I choose to say to you, Ninaskamun. Ninaskamun translates to, I give you gratitude for your courage, your wisdom, and your strength. I encourage you today, as you're walking around Mac Island, thinking about changing the narrative, have conversations about those around you who perhaps you have not yet met, about what brought them to participate today. This is a safe place and a safe environment to practice the skill of talking about suicide. Because it's not easy. And I encourage you after today, when you're out running for groceries and doing your errands throughout the community, reach for your yellow shirt. Step through the fear, be bold, wear it, and perhaps in the grocery store line, in Walmart, at the car wash, you will spark a conversation with someone who really needs to know that this yellow shirt means you see them, you care, and you are a safe place to talk about suicide. Merci. Merci, Denise.
Amazing, beautiful words for us to carry forward into our